Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stock Market Show. This is your host Shades. Today we're going to do some very technical analysis. I rarely do this kind of technical analysis on my channel, mainly because I am a showman. I want to put on a show. I want to be like, all right guys, it's your boy Shades and Trade here. Let's talk about AITX. As you can see here, the stock is getting ready to skyrocket 500%, and it's time to buy because blah blah blah, yap. But seriously, let's start with the yearly chart. You guys already know the deal. I'm going to do top-down technical analysis, starting with the highest time frame available, the yearly chart. So we're going to talk about Rigetti stock, right? We're going to talk about RGTI stock. Rigetti Computing Inc. You guys know it's one of my favorites. We've waited for it to get cheap. It's a buy under 10 in my opinion. And we're looking at the quantum ETF because the QTUM, this ETF, the Defiance Quantum ETF, follows the price action of Rigetti IonQ and the other quantum stocks that it has in its holdings. So it's a good idea to look at QTUM and see what it's doing, because it might tell you something that you might not know, something that RGTI's chart might not reveal. Because if we look at the RGTI chart, well, there's not much information to go off of here. It's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's only been around for 5 years. The ETF has been around for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And so on the yearly time frame, that's a lot of information relative to 5. Especially with RGTI kind of going sideways here on the yearly. Now here's the cool part. Ready? QTUM on the yearly, what do you see? You grab your trendline tool, and this one's trending. And possibly the trend is getting steeper. That does happen. If I show you in video, you'll notice something very interesting. Not only was it trending, but it got steeper. That can happen. So we go back to the yearly here on, where's QTUM? Where did it go? I had it right here. I just lost my QTUM. Where did it? I'm just going to type it in. That's what happens when you have too many stocks on your watch list. So QTUM, not only is it trending, but the trend has gotten steeper, indicating that quantum stocks, which are a part of its holdings, we would expect them to do the same, to follow through. Again, we have more data from QTUM versus Rigetti, which has only been around for 5 years, or I should say 4 years. Because this is the 5th year, right? So, and we're not even halfway through the year, so we still haven't gotten the full data for that 5th year. Either way, the trend has gotten steeper. Buyers actually showed up where you would expect at the trend line. That's what's interesting, just like they did here. So the trend is getting steeper. On top of that, if we start going down to the quarterly, let's see what. Oh, you see what I'm seeing on this quarterly chart? Because I see it. Again, this is very technical analysis heavy. I know some of you are going to get bored and go, oh man, I wanted showman shades, not, boring shades. Technical analysis, blah, 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 drab. Dragging on and on about candles and charts. Okay, showman shades is, taking a week off. But no, seriously, what do you see? Look at that candle right there on the quarterly. So here we dropped for 3 quarters, and then we got a nice little green candle. Here we pulled back, 1 red candle only, and immediately buyers showed up. That's a sign of strength. Because previously we dropped 3 quarters in a row before finally finding buyer support. 1 candle. 1 red candle, and immediately buyers stepped in and we pumped. Red candle, we still pumped. Red candle, buyers are showing up again with a lot of strength here. This is a very bullish candle. We can draw a circle around that to indicate and focus in on that specific candlestick pattern. That's called a hammer. We'll see how it closes though, because we still got a couple of days of the market for this month. It's still April. End of April, but still April. But the price is going down, and we get a hammer indicating that we are going to reverse because buyers are in control. Buyers have shown already that, hey, we're not going to let you push it down any lower. In fact, they did it here as well. They basically told sellers, nah, we love this stock under 60. We're going to push it up higher, and that's exactly what happened. So we would expect the same here, right? Look at those sticks here. Look at those big sticks on the bottom. Ooh, similar pattern, right? We would expect this to go higher, back to 90 and above, because every time it's gone higher. And I know you're thinking, well, what does that have to do with RGTI? RGTI, we don't have enough data, unfortunately. As you can see, we don't really have enough data to really look into the past and try to figure out its patterns over the long term, because it's only been around for 4 years plus this current year. So that candle still needs to finish printing for the year. But the fact that we can look at QTUM and see, because RGTI is a quantum stock and QTUM, it has RGTI as part of its holding, then we know that in order for this to, if this is going to skyrocket and continue its pattern that it's been having for the past couple of quarters and years, then at that point, we know that RGTI itself is also going to skyrocket. I mean, look here. What is that? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that candlestick pattern is right there? I know some of you just clicked off like, oh man, bring back Showman Shades. What is this BS? Bring back the guy that dances his head. That's a bullish engulfing. Price is coming down, red candle followed by a big green candle. That just completely wipes out the seller's ear. Like, oh, you sold it? Let me buy all that dip and we're going to go higher. Look at that. Big red candle. Buyers showed up and said, nope, we're not letting you push it lower. We love it so much. In fact, we're just going to take you out completely and go higher. Exactly what happened. So, just based off of the technical analysis here, we've only done technical analysis on the yearly and quarterly, mind you, which a lot of people don't look at. But if you look at the quarterly and yearly, it's telling us it's a buy. And I've been telling you it's a buy. Rigetti is a buy. We're using technical, the funny thing is we're using technical analysis on quantum, on QTUM ETF, and using that as a signal to buy Rigetti. I want you to keep that in mind. We're not even analyzing Rigetti itself. We're analyzing QTUM because it has more data available, more than anything, on the higher time frame. So we look at the monthly on QTUM, and you can see a very bullish green candle, and it's always bullish every time we get one of those. Here, the price is coming down, a nice little bullish green candle here, right? And we pump. Let's continue here to the weekly. And you'll see once again that the stock continues, or the ETF here continues to go higher. Every single time it comes down this cheap, it always gets bought up. We go to the daily, and what do we see? You know, you're ready for this? On the daily, it's the smallest time frame that I look at, and it looks pretty choppy, right? Compared to the quarterly and monthly and yearly. They show you a bigger picture look at what's going on. This looks very choppy, but when you zoom out, what do you see? Anytime the stock has come down under that 200 WMA that I love so much, it's always been a buy and reverses and goes higher. It comes down under it and always reverses and comes down higher, right? It always reverses and goes up higher, not down higher. Goes up higher. Comes down nice and cheap to the purple line, goes higher. Nice and cheap again, goes higher. Nice and cheap again, goes higher, is what we would expect beyond $90. That would be a predicted move here. Let's change it to pink or whatever that color is, because I'm using blue blocking glasses. Finally got new glasses. The reason I wasn't making longer videos and making videos like I used to, I was getting some severe eye strain because the old glasses. I needed to get new glasses. That's the whole point. So now I can actually do this kind of stuff. But yeah, we would expect, if it's been doing this for years now, we would expect it to do it again. And thus, even though we're doing quantum analysis, even though we're doing analysis on the ETF, which has Rigetti as its holdings, and it has IonQ as its holdings, so this would go for IonQ as well. We would also expect IonQ to skyrocket. It's a quantum stock which is part of the holdings of QTUM. So let's go to Rigetti now. God, I know some people are just like, ugh, God, bring back Showman Shades. What the hell? But no, you look at Rigetti. Again, we don't really have much information here. But Rigetti, it's always been a buy. Oh, this is horrible. Yeah, there. Okay, so it's always been a buy anytime it comes under that purple line, right? It comes down nice and cheap, skyrockets. Nice and cheap, huge skyrocket at this point. And I don't know what happened here. The problem with stocks that IPO onto the markets, that are new to the markets, they usually tank like this. So this is kind of like normal. A new stock, like if you decide to start a business and you're going to put it on the markets, usually what's going to happen is your stock is just going to tank because it's new. No one knows about it, so it just gets destroyed. But eventually, people discover it, and then if you're a good company or you have potential, people start buying it up, thinking you're worth more than where it's at, and clearly people think this is worth $21, or they thought at least. So as you can see, ever since people discovered RGTI, what's been happening? Comes down under that purple line, it's always a buy. Hell, even if you buy it when it's just a little bit above it, like up here at $2, I mean it went to 21. You still would have made money. Either way, this is still close to that purple line. It's still a buy. I think under 10 is a buy, and I do predict that in the future this will go back to 21 and beyond. My personal price target, I think let's just be safe here and say $25. I think that's a solid target for a nice 150%. We can measure that here very clearly. The risk, of course, is that you might lose a lot of money, but that's just how it is. That's the markets. You got to take risk. I don't know what is this purple? Okay, it's not my eyeballs, right? Okay, yeah. So there's your target. Let's change it to green because we're looking to make green, right? So if you were to follow the technical analysis, you stand to make quite a bit of money. If you want to have a stop loss, then let's just say you buy here at 9, you would want to have probably a stop loss at like 690s. So either you lose 25% or you make 125%. If you believe that quantum computing as a whole is going to continue to skyrocket and climb higher over the long term, again, talking about weekly, monthly, quarterly charts. And we're basing this movement off of the quantum ETF's previous historical movement, because this one has been around for several years compared to and it's an ETF as well, so it tends to be a little more. An ETF doesn't have earnings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have a CEO behind it. So the price action tends to be a little more clean compared to an actual company that has a CEO behind it, dilutes, raises money, and can have problems that have earnings that causes it to drop. Whereas QTUM, it has a basket of quantum stocks and a bunch of other stocks. So the price action tends to be cleaner, in case you didn't notice that. So there you go, guys. Very bullish on quantum as a whole. You can buy RGTI or IonQ. We can look at IonQ real quick, but the whole focus on this was RGTI. But yeah, IonQ. I don't know what I'm seeing here on IonQ. What did I just see? Yeah, I'll stick to Rigetti. I don't really know much about IonQ, but I would stick to Rigetti. But if it's gonna follow the ETF, then we would expect it to come back to 54 and beyond. Let me put it that way. Because that's really what the whole point of the video was. You use the ETF as your signal to buy. You use its cleaner price action to buy the quantum stocks that has within its holdings. Let me put it that way. I have not done this heavy technical analysis kind of videos in a long time, so I'm stuttering all over the place. But there you go. That's it for the technical analysis. Have fun.